All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Oil Stream. It is Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you, and we are on our final show today, live show here at Edmonton Sports Talk from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where we had our Super Bowl party last night, and it was incredible.
Awesome.
And as you said, Tommy, this just looks really clean today, doesn't it?
Renee and the entire staff here, so good. The hospitality has been fantastic.
You can bet on the ponies over here, too.
They've got the pony guys going for sure. And then this setup, just nice and clean. It looks awesome. So huge thank you to everybody here at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Renee specifically, who's been phenomenal. The staff last night were great. And then Dusty, the crowd, made the night. And
it was amazing.
What was also a lot of fun was glue guy, Jay Milne, getting his first dose of one of our, bashes, right?
Yeah.
Like a real bash. And then Zach to come, obviously, he's in good form. And then Trev also getting a taste of it. And so it was a lot of fun.
Trev missed an hour today.
I know. And you could tell he was dealing with an uphill battle. Let's call it that. And then had to take off halfway through the hangout.
Did he? That was it?
It was rough.
Tapped out.
You know what, man? We've all been there. And just a really good time, and we saw Jay and Andrew were here. They stayed at the hotel too, which is great.
Well, did Milne come back?
Milne had to come back.
Okay.
Yeah, he.
Well, his vehicle was here probably.
Mrs.
Right?
Milne was not impressed. She's like, you can't do that every time these guys have a watch party or live on location.
Well, that won't be the case.
No. And we don't do it like when we.
This was a Super Bowl party.
This is Super Bowl. We have a couple of blowouts a year.
Yeah.
It's the Super Bowl party. It's when we have a golf tournament, which has been MIA for the last few years, and one or two, like a nasty bash, right? Like you have those special days where it's like, all right,
nasty bash got a little carried away.
I wish I was at nasty bash.
Yeah, you were out of town then.
I was out of town. I'll be at the next nasty bash.
I will say this: we are pretty good at throwing parties.
They're fun.
Like when it's a big one, right? Nasty bash, amazing night. Super Bowl last night, amazing night.
Yes.
Hell, even Boston Pizza on Saturday.
That was a lot of fun.
An awesome night. There was a great crew out at BP's on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And they were outside of the game. They were loving everything. They were loving everything. A bunch of birthdays and stuff. It was great.
And that's a testament to the Nasties and viewers and listeners, and we can't do it without them. But everybody gets involved. Everybody has a good time, and that's the best part of this.
Gator Hockey's in and says, you know what else looks clean and awesome? Tommy's salad. It does look pretty nice, buddy.
So I noticed, yes, you guys had rooms and we had rooms, and I was like,
you could have crashed in my king bed with me.
I told you I'm Big Spoon.
Yeah,
I'm Big Spoon, but
that's impossible.
Maddie was like, I'm going to sleep on a chair because it was like king beds, right? And I'm like, I'm not sharing a bed with any of you guys, as much as I love you all. So and people
come on,
kept
Tommy, sleep with the boys.
People kept stealing my beers, so by the end of the night, I was just like, I'm just tired. I've had minimal beverages, and I'm like, I'm just going to go home and sleep in my bed. And I'm like, whatever you guys need in the morning, I'll go get. Nobody wanted anything.
No, I mean, we were just kind of grinding.
Yeah, and I'm like, casual cruise in. I'm listening to the show. I'm like, well, I'm glad I made that choice. It was fun. It was a hell of a night, though.
Very fun night. Yeah. I did go back up to my room and have a nap between Nielsen Show and Lock Shop. And I plan on going home and sleeping until my kids are done school today, too. So it was good, though. It was a lot of fun. I mean, Super Bowl ended up being a dud to start and then finished pretty strong. If you have any questions, of course, you can text us anytime. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. The Oilers' reaction was amazing this morning on the show. Holy smokes.
And I started popping off about it a bit on the hang-up, but I was like, no, save it, because we have the Oil Stream coming up. And so what were your takeaways from that? Because I was listening to the text, and I was like, whoa. And I think it was actually Propane Pimp Propane Pimp likes to stir it up, but he actually had a rational, logical response to a lot of the people getting freaked out over a bad weekend in California and then a tough loss in Vegas, obviously, last week.
Yeah, it was interesting. But, I said this morning, and the Oil Stream, Zach, you bring up Boston Pizza. The Oil Stream is presented by Boston Pizza. And if you're looking for a place to watch the Oilers games, Boston Pizza can certainly hook you up. $5 off medium pizzas. You had that. The pizza that you had looked absolutely delicious.
It was like a bourbon barbecue pizza.
Damn, that looked good.
Half of it's still in my fridge, and that will be dinner tonight.
I had cactus. Well, you had some cactus cuts when I got there.
They were so good.
I had a few of those until my mouth started burning up like crazy.
They were hot.
But yeah, no, absolutely delicious at Boston Pizza. And we're 2 days away from heart-shaped pizzas.
Ooh-wee.
Which the Nielson family is excited. There's no doubt about that. The kids, they love their heart-shaped pizza. So, we have people today say, streak's done, doesn't mean anything anymore. It was never meant anything. I can see, so you win 16 in a row as a team.
Yeah.
Then you lose 2 of 3.
Right.
There's some leeway here where you go, yeah, well, they've won 17 of their last 19.
Yeah.
Which is really good. But I got time for fans who are like, I don't care how many they want. Now, they needed to win them to get back into the mix, right? So they've done that. Mission accomplished.
Correct.
They're going to be a playoff team again.
Yeah.
But I do have time for fans who are a little bit of time who say, well, who cares about the streak when the 2 teams that you really need to beat are the Kings and Golden Knights, and you didn't beat them.
I know.
And I get it. I mean, it sounds ridiculous to even say it, but I get it. I understand why they'd be so frustrated.
I have a bit of an issue with that. Now, I get where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Those were the 2 games last week where you're like, get one of those wins. That's important. The Golden Knights game, they played really well. Great goaltending by Adin Hill. That was the difference maker. The games we saw in California, they played maybe 2.5 good periods. Maybe 2.5 good periods out of 6. And the people saying, you need to beat the Kings, and if you can't beat the Kings, and if you can't beat the Golden Knights, what are you? Well, just really quickly, they've beaten both of those teams this year.
Yeah.
I know it's what have you done for me recently? Well, it's lose to those teams, so I understand. And the way they lost in L.A. was not good. They did not play a good game. McDavid was not good.
Yeah,
there was a lot of bad that night. And the Kings, they had some – they had – momentum's not the right word to use, but I think someone called it a perfect storm. One of the texts said perfect storm. Coach Baum hadn't played in 10 days, caught the Oilers on a back-to-back. I think Edmonton played, 3 games in 5-day span at that point because at the 2 days for 2 games.
It was 3 and 5. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But, I don't like that as an excuse, but it is valid that the Kings had some stuff on their side, and they wanted to take advantage of the new coach bump and the fresh start, and you hate the Oilers, and they were motivated, and they played that way. The Oilers couldn't match the Kings' level of effort. You and I were talking about it while we were watching the game at BT.
You could just tell.
You're like, man, the Kings are working hard. It's like, yeah, they were out hustling the Oilers all over the ice. Edmonton had some chances. The power play wasn't good. So that game I didn't like. I was concerned about it. And then the way they kind of casually got into the Anaheim game and just, flexed on a weaker team. I get it. But to say this team is not a contender, this team doesn't have it, you need to go and get this piece and that piece and that piece, I think that's a bit irrational and a bit overblown. So let's see. Now, having said that, let's see what they do tomorrow night against a good Detroit Red Wings team. A Detroit Red Wings team that has played a couple more games than the Oilers, but is only 1 point back of what Edmonton has this season. The Oilers have 61 points. Detroit has 60. So let's see what they do tomorrow night. Do they have a better performance? Are they more motivated? Do they work their butts off? Do they earn the win? Because nothing's guaranteed. It's not an easy win night against Detroit like it was a year or 2 ago. And then go and follow it up with a thorough game in St. Louis. Then, like you alluded to on the morning show, tough one in Dallas, afternoon. It's a 1 o'clock start our time. You get Jake Ottinger and the Stars, who, for the most part, have been rock solid the last few years. They have their moments, too, where you can catch them. This is a big week. Let's see what they have. And then I think this will be a good week to determine which Oilers are they. Are they the ones that were on a tear, yes, beat a lot of teams that are weaker, or are they a solid team that should make us believe that they're a legit contender? I do think that they are back to being the contender type of team, and I'm not putting too much stock into last week, but I understand the rationale of those who are starting to sound the alarm bells, but I think it's too soon to really do that.
All right, you can hit us up in the Nasty Chat. You can also text us, obviously, with our online sports station, 780-218-9999. If you've not yet downloaded the TuneIn app, make sure you do. Very easy to listen to, literally one click, boom. Mine's set up on my car, so when I get in, it just starts. It's amazing. There's lots to discuss coming out of that game on Saturday,
sure.
And we'll get to it. James, I see your thing about the power play. We'll certainly get to that. Coach Mike, I see your text messages as well, 780-218-9999. What was up with McDavid on Saturday?
I don't know. I mean, he doesn't have those games very often, but you're going to have a stinker every now and then. They're rare.
Do you think it was a classic overreaction to say it was one of his worst games in his career? Well, the fact that you're hesitating here it was that bad, I guess.
But they're so rare that when they pop up like that, you're like, wow, he was human and not good. The giveaway on the second goal was bad. That was just bad. He got beat on the wall. He made a mistake, and it led directly to a goal. Yeah, sure. I mean, I know we like to hyperbolize things. It's fair. I think it's okay to say, yeah, it probably, in the grand scheme of all the games he's played, wasn't one of his worst 5 games of all time. But given what happened, the situation, yeah, I think it's within reason to be like, that was a bad game for McDavid. If you want to classify it as top 5 bad games for him, sure.
What else for Saturday? Like, I think they're like, and they're
power
changing.
Play was bad.
Yeah, power play. Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah,
why is this power play bad? What's the number here? James has it.
It was just 3 for 34.
3 for 34 on the road in their last 14.
Yeah, and I think it's too cute. Like, I'm looking at. I'm not putting everything on Evan Bouchard. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking at Bouchard overall, and I'm going, he's too casual. And we saw that. And we talked about it on the post game show on Tuesday in Vegas, and then he cleaned it up a bit in Anaheim, and then. Moments where he was casual again. And then people were talking about Ekholm maybe being a bit off. And, so I don't know if it's like rust coming out of the break, but they need to snap back into it. So there's been some guys who have been MIA. It was interesting, too. We had a lot of people texting in post-game the other night saying, hey, Foegele wasn't particularly great. But then we had, Chris Knobloch say he thought Foegele was really coming around and had a better night overall, and he liked what he saw from Foegele, McLeod, and Holloway. So that was interesting to see the contrast in opinion. And I feel like Knobloch wasn't, blowing smoke up our you-know-whats just for the sake of defending his player. I think he's pretty sincere in every availability that he has. So that was interesting, the contrast in opinion, because usually the fan base and the players, and us as media too, we generally see the game the same way, and there was some difference there, which doesn't happen all that often.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or in the Nasty Chat over on YouTube. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a sub as we try to push towards 7,000 subscribers on the Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube. Also, give us a thumbs up here for the oil stream today as well. It'll pump it out into the algorithm, I believe, and then more people will end up seeing it. Big Uke over there says Saturday was like their first fully bad game in 2 months.
Yep.
Connor being that off just permeates down the lineup. They will bounce back at home in their own beds. So he's got some faith in the club right now. Hampton Steve is in and says, what this past week has shown me is that Holland should wait until the week of the deadline to make his moves. Still not sure if this team needs some depth pieces or should just blow it out for a big name like Gensel. So Hampton Steve is saying evaluate over the next month, less than a month now, 3 weeks, to figure out exactly what your need is come that time, which I kind of get. I understand because I know they seem to be in the mix for every top 6-4. We talked about this on Friday.
Well, they call about everybody.
Yeah.
So, yes, they inquire.
Yeah.
Now, are they literally in the mix? Because that's the name all weekend long. People are like, Tom, what about Gensel? Are they going to go for Gensel? Last night at the Super Bowl party. How about Gensel, Tommy? When's that going to happen? I'm like, Gensel, guys, like, everybody wants Gensel, and is that the piece? What's it going to cost you? Pagnotta on Hello Hockey the other day was telling us about all the guys that they've been talking about with Philadelphia. He was talking about Scott Lawton. He was talking about
you bring
Walker.
up Konechny? No?
He did not bring up – it was Lawton.
It was Lawton and Walker?
Yeah, those were the two names that he brought up. Now, how Konechny gets into the mix, I don't know, but that was a name that I'm pretty sure Pagnotta did not bring up. And Pagnotta – he's dialed in. So, but, I mean, Ken Holland calls on literally everybody which is him doing his due diligence, and we can appreciate that. But I don't know.
But it does link them to a lot of different people because they're like, oh, Ken called me. Like, yeah.
And people here are like, oh, it's Gensel, isn't it? I'm like, well, I don't know. I feel like there's other teams that probably have more wiggle room and can provide a better package to Pittsburgh if they want to move on from Gensel.
All right, your thoughts, 780-218-9999, or in the Nasty Chat here as well. Portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, where if you go today to get the Popeyes meal, today's the final day for the Ekholm Cup. All right, tomorrow's the final day for the Ekholm Cup. Today's the 12th, right?
Yeah.
February 14th, Valentine's Day is when the Nuge Cup starts going. You go into Popeyes, you say, I want the Oilers meal. They'll give you copious amounts of food. We're talking the regular or spicy classic chicken sandwich, the nugs, the Cajun fries, the medium drink, the dipping sauces, and you'll get your hands on that Ekholm Cup right now for today and tomorrow. And then the Nuge Cup, the fourth and final of these Oilers Collectors Cups, available at all Popeyes locations starting on Valentine's Day. The other thing from that game, and I guess we'll see it a little bit here, it looks like Matthias Janmark might be coming out of the lineup according to practice today, but they're a three-line team going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right?
And then,
but nowadays, is that I feel like it could be viewed as the end of the world. You'd love to have like Vegas last year, right? They have this fourth line they could throw out, grind you down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know how much you'd put those guys on the ice in the playoffs.
Well, they're basically like specialty players, right? They're all PK guys on that fourth line.
Yeah.
That's why I like the top six thing. When I heard, top six was a priority for the Oilers, I was like, wait a second. And then you go, well, yeah, Warren Foegele shouldn't be in your top six. So if you do get a legit winger and bumps a guy down and makes well,
then you get Perry or Foegele on your fourth line.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden you're going, oh, now you can, more comfortably roll out four lines in the stretch drive and then ideally in the playoffs. But they have two really good lines, okay? Not perfect, but really good. And then a semblance of a decent third line, depending on the night, depending who's going. And then a fourth line that it's like roll the dice, see what you get. See what happens. Do they do anything? Some nights they're MIA. How's the PK looking? Well, it's been a little bit leakier lately, right? So I'd say they're a three-line team. I would give them a three-line team right now.
Yeah, that's something that can be addressed in a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Sam Gagner, good to see Sam get back into the lineup.
Yes.
I don't know all of a sudden your fourth line is like this great line, but
get him out there.
You might as well mix it up a little bit because they just have not been able to accomplish anything.
Sorry.
Connor Brown can't come out of the lineup for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he continues to stay in, but
maybe they want to just spark Janmark and wake your ass up, kind of, let's go, guy, we need you. 5 points in a 3-game span plus one other one that you sprinkled in there from a random game. That's not enough. But, yeah, and it's weird, too, with Gagner. I don't know, like, if it's just his presence gives them a little boost or what, but I like when he's in there. He gives them everything that he can, and he's not the Sam Gagner of 10 years ago, that's for sure, but can he be a spark? Maybe. He's done it before. Did in that game against Dallas, remember? That they ended up blowing anyway, but let's see what happens tomorrow.
This little spark.
Yeah, spark.
Go from there.
Let's go.
Also at practice today, it looks like they put the D pairings back.
Good. Like, that experiment was not working.
I still don't know why the experiment happened.
Neither do I.
That's the weird thing to me.
Sure. Try something. Didn't really work. Go back to what's working. Yes, I understand the circumstance that maybe if a guy goes down, you need to switch things up. But if anything, it feels like it reiterates that they need another defenseman. An NHL defenseman, not a Philip Broberg, a guy who's been in the league, just to have there as a safety net.
I'm a little surprised they wouldn't take Brown out and put Gagner in just because of both right shots. Leave Matthias Janmark over on the left side.
I agree. Like,
Brown that's a weird
really,
one to me.
I don't think his puck touches have been particularly great. People have said, hey, they're a little bit better, but you're getting nothing out of him right now. Nothing. And haven't gotten anything out of him all season.
And his existence as an Oiler.
It's been frustrating.
Yeah. Maybe it's not too much longer before they mix that up a little bit as well. Big Uke says Brown and Janmark have 10 points combined in 96 games. Gagner has 10 in 22.
Yep.
Sam Gagner gets little things done. He just does. He puts pucks on net, but he doesn't think about it. He's smart. He always has been. And maybe that's what they need on that fourth line right now. Dr. Gonzo is in and says, no matter what moves they make, I feel like they'll be fleeced. Worth it for the winning window we have, I think. Teams probably really want a Holloway or even a Clouder in these situations. I mean, sure. what would be off limits? Like, to make a deal that legitimately, significantly improves the Oilers' chances of winning a Stanley Cup, I'm not sure anything should be out of the picture. You know what I mean?
A couple the core pieces are off limits. That's it, right? So, third line guys available. Warren Fogle on an expiring contract available. Cody Ceci probably available. But then if you get rid of him, you're looking to fill that void and then add a seventh defenseman still, I think. So you got to get creative maybe, but there's McLeod, if you can upgrade the team, probably available. Holloway, I don't know if there'd probably be reluctance, but you would listen, right? Like, why wouldn't you listen?
Yeah.
Why say no
before
you
have to listen on
out?
Everything. Like, you can't sit here and go,
no.
Okay, so this so-and-so, Team X wants Dylan Holloway. And I like Dylan Holloway.
Me too.
I think Dylan Holloway eventually becomes a really good player for the Edmonton Oilers. So, but Team X goes, yeah, we've got the guy you're looking for. And it's not a rental. It's like an actual hockey trade. And they go, but it's going to cost you Dylan Holloway. Ken Holland or Jackson or whoever, maybe they're both on phones and they're connected at the same time. They don't go, oh, sorry, hang up. Like, we're not going to listen on that. I don't think that's how it can be when you're in this McDavid-Draisaitl window.
No,
like,
you process it.
All the eggs have to be in the basket every single year.
Fair.
Joked about it on the Nielsen show today. I'd take that big dry bag of powder that Lowtide loves, and I'd hammer it with the fire hose and just soak it. That's it. No more dry powder. Right. Everything's it's all in. Everything.
Yeah. I get it. Like, you want to make sure that the future is still bright, but if not now, when? Right? If not now, when?
As a fan base, you need to be willing to accept, though, that if it doesn't work, you can't all of a sudden go back and be like, well, I shouldn't have done that. Right? Like, you're either going for it.
They will do that.
Or, I know, but you shouldn't. Now, with that being said, if they pull off these sick trades and everybody's like, oh, my God, there might still be one or two guys who are like, this is not the right play for the future. But the future doesn't matter. To me, the future doesn't matter right now. As long as it involves Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, that's all that matters. Whether it's short-term future, long-term future, that's all that matters. Yeah. So I just don't see it. Nick is in and says all third and fourth line guys are available, but really aren't pretty much every team's third and fourth line players in the NHL a plug-and-play player in any lineup anyway, right? Mm-hmm. You don't know how much value some of these guys would have or not have in situations like this. So, yeah.
The right player for your team that mixes in better on your team than on other teams. Sometimes you find that with luck, too. You realize you got something that's better than you thought it would be. That happens sometimes.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Coach Mike texted this in a little bit earlier. It says, guys, the Oilers have to go 2-1 this week at the very least, don't they?
Yeah.
Red Wings at home and then back on the road for the Blues, the Stars, and the Coyotes. That's basically 4 games between now and Monday. Mm-hmm. You'd like 3-1.
3-1
would be. I think you'd be very happy with 3-1. Well, 4-0 would be the dream, but I think 3-1 you're pretty happy, right? To lose one of the games to the Wings, Blues, and Stars, that's not the end of the world.
Tomorrow's a tough one. Okay, but yeah. I think that the Oilers should, if they bounce back, if they get their heads out of their you-know-whats, if they work hard, that's a game that they could win, obviously. St. Louis, you have to win, I think, regardless of if St. Louis is playing better now. Dallas could go either way. That's going to be a thorn in. Dallas and Detroit are going to be the tough ones. And then I know that the Coyotes have had a better year, but that's no mercy at Mullet Arena next Monday at 2 p.m. our time. Like, St. Louis and Arizona, you have to win. No ifs, ands, or buts. Should win against Detroit, although they're a much better team. And then I still like their chances against Dallas. 3-1. totally realistic. Make it happen. I think that'll help those that are worried about what happened last week maybe calm their nerves a little bit and let them take a deep breath and focus on the week at hand after that, because that's going to get pretty busy and pretty tough with Boston, Mini, Calgary, back-to-back at home. Oof. LA again, and then St. Louis to wrap up the month.
Some good questions rolling in on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube right now, please hammer the thumbs up and give us a sub and tell your friends about our YouTube channel. And if you are, of course, listening on TuneIn or at edmontonsportstalk.com, very easy for you to pass that along to your friends. And, tell them how easy it is. And you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. Let's go to Nick. Nick says, if you were the GM right now and can only address one area, which one are you looking to upgrade? So you can only have the luxury of one area. There's one wish.
It's an upgrade or a thing of need? Upgrade, right?
It says looking to upgrade.
Upgrade. Because, the defenseman is a necessity more than an upgrade. Because you need a seventh guy.
You're just looking for a seventh guy.
You need a body that can be there and you can rely on, but that's not an upgrade. If it was an upgrade, I'd upgrade the depth at forward. And is that a top 6 or is it top 9? But I would upgrade it so that you could get guys kind of where they should be. You can have guys, they've had it where they've moonlit guys in the top 6 on one of the wings. Could Corey Perry moonlight as a top 6 right winger? Maybe. Is it ideal? No, not at this stage in his career. I'd say upgrade the top 9. Ideally top 6. If that's not there, you can't find the deal that's feasible, then the top 9, and then you can shuffle guys down and solidify the forward unit.
Well, that's the thing. If you're to upgrade somebody, it's going to improve your fourth line.
Yeah.
No matter what anyway, right?
And again, to those would be like, Tom, you need to get a top 6. Yeah, I get that. Ideally, it's a top 6, but realistically, if you swing and miss, if you upgrade the forward unit by getting a top 9 guy, and then a couple guys, end up down on the fourth line, then you've upgraded the forward unit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, what say you on that one? One area to upgrade. It comes back around to, we had messages on the morning show today about how this team struggles to score goals. And, I personally don't view it that way. They are right now 6th in the National Hockey League in goals per game.
That's not struggling to score goals.
No, that's why it's an easy conversation to have when they're getting shut out by the Kings.
Right.
Right? Then you go, well, they can't score.
One against Vegas.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Is this – if you look at – let's just look at the winning streak, okay? So, it started with 6 goals against the Devils, 4 against the Rangers, 5 against the Sharks, 3 against the Kings, 7 against the Ducks, 5 against the Flyers, 3 against the Sens, 2 against the Hawks, 3 against the Wings, 2 against the Habs, 4 against the Leafs, 4 against the Kraken, 3 against the Flames, 4 against the Blue Jackets, 3 against the Hawks, 4 against the Preds, and then the 2 losses. Scored 1 against the Golden Knights, didn't have any against the Kings, put up 5 against the Ducks. They only didn't score 3 goals or more 3 times on the 16-game winning streak. So, at minimum, they're burying 3 pretty much every single night. What do they say? Stanley Cups are won in 3-2 hockey games? Is that
the league is a 3-2 league.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays.
And when they're getting the 3 and on top of it, when we were breaking down those numbers this morning on the show, the top 7 highest scoring teams in the league, the only team that allows less goals per game than the Oilers right now is the Vancouver Canucks, and Thatcher Demko being absolutely red hot. So, they're scoring with the best teams in the league, but they're also defending better than the other highest scoring teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't see this. They've got a scoring problem. I don't see it. I don't.
More offense. Yeah.
But that's but the stop for the need for a top 6 winger would make me think the team itself is worried about their offense a little bit.
I think a top 6 winger allows them to be a more well-rounded
team, yeah.
Rather than strictly saying we need to score more. It's no, we're
now you've got
better
a top
unit.
6, and then you don't have any bottom guys being elevated out of where they should be.
Yeah, I think you're looking at the overall team, and that's what Vegas was last year, and it's a copycat league, and now everybody wants to have 4 lines and a fourth line that can grind you down and give you a solid 10 minutes a night minimum, and then Vegas also has 3 solid pairs, and they managed to get goaltending in the playoffs. And you look at the Oilers, like if you do get that top 6, top 9 guy, then all of a sudden your forward unit, you have 3 solid lines, and then you kind of look at your fourth line, and you're like, it can serviceable, and then you look at your D pairings, and although not perfect, you could go, yeah, that's all right, that first pair. Yeah, that's all right, that second pair. And then surprisingly, you're getting a Vinny Desharnais who's coming up, but developing well in his second year in the National Hockey League, first full year, and then Kulak's been solid, and Stu Skinner's been actually pretty good. Pickard's been reliable. That's a good recipe.
Who do you think is playing like elevated from where they actually belong on this team right now?
Fogle.
Whoever. Well, right now he's on the third line.
Yeah, now he's back down to
that's where Fogle should be. So, like right now, it's Corey Perry. He's in that top 6 right wing spot.
And call me like.
But is that the only spot in the whole lineup? I mean, Derek Ryan and Yamark and Connor Brown are fourth liners.
Yeah, when they're
just not a good fourth line. But they're fourth liners in the National Hockey League.
Yes, they are. I mean, again, I just gave Vinny Desharnais full props, but like, if he was your 7th defenseman, that's a pretty good 7th defenseman. Now he's playing better than a 7th defenseman. Good on him.
He's a third pairing guy now, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. But like, if you had another guy, who's ahead? Maybe you could make an argument that CC is not a top
I was going to say the only other discussion I think there would be Cody Ceci probably playing slightly higher than he would be in an ideal situation.
There you go. Right?
Dash is in. Says Dusty, dry powder is a reference to gunpowder. Keeping it dry means not blowing it up. By soaking it, as you suggest, you will also still, in essence, be keeping the gunpowder inoperable. Because you wouldn't be able to use the wet gunpowder. See, not a big gunpowder guy myself. So, if I was ever going to have a generation of guns, I want to do the one where you have the bag of the gunpowder and you pour it down the top thing.
Those are muskets.
A musket. Yeah, I want to be a musket guy.
Okay.
Do people still buy muskets? Like, can you go out hunting with a musket?
You could, but I mean, it's not that effective.
Something from Pawn Stars,
like a high-powered rifle that they use now.
Yeah, but how cool would it be? Like, I'm going to get that duck now, and you're filling up your musket. And
also, not very effective in terms of use of time.
You would know this.
I host a hunting show on Wall TV.
He hosts a hunting show.
By the way,
of course, Tommy would know this.
How about the other night at BP when I was leaving? As I'm about to leave, had a great chat with Tony from BP, and I've got all
were
the
they
bags.
Good dudes?
They're awesome. Curtis, Tony, the whole staff there are phenomenal. I had like 5 bags on my shoulders, and as I'm about to leave, I hear Tom Gazzola, and it's a nice older gentleman that I played in the Dirty Birds tournament with.
Oh, no way. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we played with a while
Rob.
ago, and his wife.
Is it Rob? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I watch you on the hunting show. And I was like,
oh, he is a hunter.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I thought that was hilarious. And I've had a few people be like, you're that guy from the hunting show. And I was like, really? No TSN, no CTV, no Oilers TV, no Everton. They're like, hunting show guy. Yep, that's me.
That's wild.
TV.
That's wild. Smitty the Welder said they're called muzzle loaders.
Muzzle.
What? That's cool. Picture of Matty Wanek here. Hang on.
Oh, boy.
It's been a long day.
He's not doing well.
Matty Wanek right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. He's rubbing his leg, too.
Well, I'll say this. Matty got into it pretty good last night. He's got a great picture of you down on the table. Matty got into it pretty good last night, and he's been up since. His alarm went off at 5, I think, today, right? Was it 5? Yeah, Matty's tired, justifiably so.
Home stretch. Home stretch.
Today? Oh, yeah, because you're not in tomorrow morning. This is a long day. How about Renee from Century Casino?
Renee putting in
Renee's been up for 30 straight hours.
Oh, my God. 32.
32 hours now.
I just had a great conversation.
She got home super late last night, then turned around, came back here at like 3 this morning.
Unbelievable.
To make sure we could get into the casino because it's obviously all locked down.
Yeah.
Because they don't want me to go crushing those tables over there again.
How about Jay Milne showing up, too?
He had to come back and get his vehicle, I think.
And then him and Zach to come at the tables, blackjack, I guess. Did you guys end up or down? No, didn't.
Does anybody ever end up?
House always wins.
I sat down and played Texas Hold'em over there.
I thought you weren't a gambler. In Vegas, you were playing.
Well, I like these lower minimum tables.
Okay.
So I went over and I played the Texas Hold'em table game because I like poker. And it didn't go well. I thought it would go better, but it didn't go well at all.
Fiddlesticks.
Yeah. I didn't know why. I was playing with some nice people, though. I always get intimidated by playing with other people at the table, just in case I let them down.
Yeah, there's like the etiquette, and they get annoyed by you.
In the Texas Hold'em game, we're all just playing against the dealer.
Oh, okay.
So there's no you took my card or anything like that.
That also gets me. I remember like an old guy once being like, "Why'd you do that?" I'm like,
yeah, right. You get super nervous about
relax.
it. Super nervous about it. Let's see here. Okay, interesting. Sonny D, when we were talking about who is playing above their role right now. Hey, Maddie. Zacticum, you see this?
Take a look.
We're having a Wirecast issue here. Oh, we're still good. Don't touch it then. Okay, yeah, don't touch it. Don't touch it. This is classic. We've got, like, our program we use to stream everything here at Edmonton Sports Talk is called Wirecast, and it's up right now, and it says close the program or wait for the program to respond.
We have 15 minutes
But
left.
it's still streaming. So we're going to try to ride this thing out. We're going to milk it. Don't touch anything. Yeah, it says close program or wait for program to respond. It might shut down at some point. And I'll just say this right now. If it shuts down, we're done for the day.
Sure.
I mean, we put in a good shift here. The Internet's been phenomenal so far.
Yeah.
So let's go. Okay, Bouchard here.
Yes.
Sonny D says, what about Bouchard playing a little bit above where he should be playing? Third pairing PP guy, not a PK guy, which seems like he's getting a few minutes there now as well. Is Bouchard correctly slotted on the Edmonton Oilers, do you think?
I want to say
pretty darn
yes.
close, right? Pretty darn close.
Okay. Would it be more satisfying? I guess technically, is Ekholm and Bouchard your top pairing, or is it Nurse and CC? And that's something that's kind of like debated and flipped around, right? Like,
I don't think I have an answer to that, man.
To me, Ekholm's your number 1 D man. I'm sorry, Darnell Nurse is your number 2 D.
I feel like they are both like 1Bs.
Okay.
Like they're good top pairs, but they're not top pairs.
So technically,
right? Like,
yeah, no, you're right. So technically, Bouchard is your, well, I guess, first pairing. I'm putting Ekholm as your best defenseman, just above Nurse. That's in my opinion. More reliable. That's why. If you're wondering why, more reliable, Matthias Ekholm. So Bouchard's with him. Is Bouchard a true number 1 pairing guy? No, hasn't earned that. Hasn't shown it. Hasn't done it consistently.
I think there'll be some pushback in the market on that one, though. You know,
Because
there's a lot of super
production.
pro Bouchard guys with the point production and the way he drives play
But
and all
the
that
overall
stuff.
game. I just said I look at
the overall game with Bouchard had been decent during the winning streak. I just feel like he's kind of been he's kind of had it stuck in neutral since the All-Star break.
Correct.
Right?
Right. Could he be a number 1, a typical number 1 pairing guy? Sure. But the consistency has to be there, and the defensive side has to be there, and that would mean not.
If he's not playing with Ekholm, I don't think you view Bouchard as, it's not like, oh, he's going to play with Kulak. Well, it doesn't matter because whatever pair Bouchard's on is the top pair. Like, that's not, to me, that's the top pairing defenseman, right? Which wouldn't be the case there.
But would I put him in as a third pairing guy? No, I don't think a lot of teams would either. Like, I don't think when he's, like, remember Justin Schultz?
How can you forget Justin Schultz?
Justin Schultz was, top 2 pairing guy, and then when he got traded, he was kind of a third pairing guy, worked his way up in Pittsburgh, then was like a mid-pairing guy. Like, I think Bouchard has the capability of being a top 4 D-man, which he is already, and not making the argument that he should be in the bottom pair. Is he a power play specialist? Yes, 100%. Can his defensive game elevate to the point where you rely on him? Yeah, but is it consistent? More so now than it was certainly at the start of the year, certainly than it was at the start of last year. I think he's more than a third pairing guy. I do.
Portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by One Putt Virtual Golf. Don't worry, don't touch anything, Zach. We'll get through this. Best and most accurate indoor golf places in the city for serious and casual golfers. They have 6 TrackMan bays, which makes this the perfect place to golf and hang out with your friends while catching an Oilers game and crushing some EST 6 o'clocker lager. They've got it in the cans. I'm not sure there's any cans left in the city after what happened here last night.
That was a lot.
Check them out to plan your next event like birthdays, stags, team building, and much more. They can fit up to 30 golfers and 40 people total. To learn more, check them out, www.oneputt.ca, or follow their Instagram at oneputtYEG. But birthday parties, stags, team building, whole lot more. Book the whole bloody place. Right? You got 30 staff.
That'd be a great
Everybody
staff party.
Go.
Yeah.
Go hang out there.
Swing the clubs. I grabbed my putter yesterday because I was watching the final.
Oh, so were you putting around a bit?
Right before I came here. I'm like,
Did you fake putt around the house?
I was just holding it and swinging it. I'm like, that pendulum.
That's disturbing.
So nice.
You love that, eh?
I bought a new putter last year, and I love it. And my putting did improve.
What type of putter did you get?
Tailor-made Spider.
I was going to say a Spider?
This GTX. It was a good one. It was
wow.
A good one, yeah.
Fancy boy.
It was a fancy boy. It's got the,
fancy boy.
You can move the weights.
Who do you think this guy is? Nick Taylor?
I wish. Man, he made a lot of money yesterday.
And he made a lot of money yesterday.
That's our fancy Canadian boy. Well done, Nick Taylor, out of Winnipeg. Well done. I love it. I love when, you know what? And that was almost a quasi-home game for him being in Phoenix. Lots of Canadians.
Coach Mike says, special edition of the Oil Stream next Monday. 2-hour show. Is Monday not a holiday? Yeah, there's no Oil Stream next Monday. We are taking the day off.
There's a game that day.
Well, you're working that Monday. I'm not working that Monday.
I'll work it.
Wait, what time? It's an afternoon game.
It's an afternoon game.
Oh, yeah. So you could, No, Tommy, you have a pregame at 12:30 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be
Maybe I do it from the home studio.
Pregame show.
Maybe I do it from the satellite studios. Owanek doesn't care.
CO he's questioning it.
He's not. He's like, I don't care. That means yes. As long as we're on the air. Yeah, exactly. So...
Guys, this is interesting. Zedmo, you've done it again.
Zedmo.
You've piqued my interest. I'd like to see if Ekholm could help improve Vincent Desharnais. CC with Kulak would lighten CC's load. You know what? They did the old shuffle-roo, and they didn't. That would have been the one. Like
the Desharnais with Nurse thing was like, I'm like,
it never made sense.
That kind of.
Like, doesn't Zedmo's idea make more sense?
Yes.
Like, if you're going to try to elevate Desharnais, elevate him with Ekholm. But then you got to go Bouchard. You got to go Bouchard Nurse,
which could also be disaster.
Yeah, I guess that's tough. Although I would like to see Ekholm and Desharnais.
Who knows? Could you sprinkle it in? Could you put Kulak with Bouchard? That wasn't particularly.
I think what they have now is the best that they got.
Yeah.
I don't think there's but I'm intrigued by Desharnais with Ekholm as opposed to Desharnais with Nurse, which never made sense.
If you went and got another defenseman to be a safety net, you could try that.
Yeah.
Or
that's why they got to get that
defensive specialist on the back end.
Terry Wong is in. Great show, boys. Would Ebbs be a fit back with the Oilers? Talked about Eberle a little bit on Friday.
Sure.
I think he wouldn't be like top of the target list for right wingers you'd want to bring in. But I think in a pinch, if you're like, okay, got to have somebody, your team is better if you have Jordan Eberle on the right side in the top 6 and one of Perry or Fogle on your fourth line. That type of thing.
I would look at it and go, is he better than your right winger on the second line right now? More effective? If it's Corey Perry? Yeah. So, yeah. Yes.
The Bouchard-Nurse pairing was a train wreck. I believe it still would be a train wreck.
As soon as I thought about
that, was beginning of the season, right? Wasn't that beginning of the season? Yeah, that was because Ekholm wasn't.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, Desharnais Ekholm would be.
If you could find a way, and again, I think the answer to how could you make that work without causing disaster with your other pairings would have to be if you bring in a solid, steady defensive D-man for cheap. if there's one out there.
Guys, I'm glad they're going back to the same D pairings, especially on the PK. 73 and 14 together are better on the PK than 73 and 25. That one in from Coach Mike. Hampton Steve comes back around, 780-218, 99.99. Dusty, thoughts on the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer? Did you watch that?
I did, multiple times.
Was it awesome?
It was fantastic.
Damn it. I haven't seen it. You know what trailer I got? Somebody DM me on Twitter for Twisters.
I saw that one too yesterday.
And it's a guy from Maverick.
He's
good. I like that guy.
Good. Glenn something.
Yeah, Glenn.
What's his good?
He was great in Maverick.
He was great.
He was. I know he's like
Hangman.
Yeah, Hangman. He was. He's the right dude to play the arrogant prick.
Because you're a dickhead, but I think I like you.
Yeah, and at the end where he learns to be there for them. And what did he say? Something that. You're great. He goes, I know I am. Like, he's so good. I like that guy. He's become one of my favorite actors. So I saw him in the new Twisters trailer, and I was like, wow. And I'm a huge Twister guy.
Twister was a great movie.
I love that movie. With modern-day technology, Twisters should be insane.
I think
it's just called Twisters.
It's called Twisters. But there was, in Twister, they had the little the sensors that they had to get into the
Dorothy.
tornado.
It was Dorothy.
Yeah.
I watch it all the time. Dorothy, yeah.
There was a quick clip in Twister's trailer where you saw them open it up, and it was like one of those, so it's a reference back to that. And then there was an interesting one where that guy's truck had like a drill to stick into the ground, and I was like, whoa. But I'm like, is another Twister movie necessary?
Yes.
Wasn't it great as a one-off?
No, I'm in for it.
Okay.
I'm in for it. I'm in for every spring there's a new Twister movie.
Not necessary.
Yeah.
Wolverine, Deadpool.
Was it amazing?
I was just like, ooh.
I can't wait for that
and
movie.
they have what's the timeline cops? The
the TVA?
TVA, yeah.
There's a TVA in it?
Lots of TVA, and it was a good joke.
This is going to be a big switch up here then.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. So Ryan Reynolds is so good as Deadpool, and then he fully says how he's going to mess up the Marvel.
Does he say it in the trailer?
Cinematic universe in the trailer, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to watch that the moment we are done on Oil Stream today.
Yeah, it's really good.
The moment we are done. If Bush is not with Ekholm, he's not in top pairing consideration. We kind of already discussed that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Okay, so I want to get to this one. We kind of alluded to it earlier. You brought it up at one point where you said, they're probably not as good as they were, but they're better than they've been in these two games against the Kings and Golden Knights.
Yeah.
Somebody today texted into the Nielsen show and said, guys, I think the Oilers are just a good team.
Let them be a good team.
Just a good team.
They're trying to elevate to an excellent team. And
part of me does feel, though, they're better than just good.
Absolutely. You don't win 16 games in a row by being just a good team. Now, are we going to dub them great?
But people are putting more weight into the 2 losses than they did the 16 wins.
I know.
We're seeing it. It's happening. It sounds crazy.
It's touchy. It's touchy. It's sensitive. And it's the way they I don't think there are people freaking out with how they lost in Vegas when they were the better team for the most part. Now, if they gave you 2 stinkers,
if they played against Vegas
Saturday,
like they did against the Kings,
then you're going, oh, whoa. They did come out of the gates bad last year out of the All-Star / bye week as well. And but if they bounce back tomorrow and look good on Thursday, I'm going, they're fine.
What if they don't bounce back tomorrow?
Then I start to go, well, what the hell's wrong with you guys? Wake up.
Post-game show is going to be crazy.
I know.
If they come home for one and lose.
It's been interesting. It's been a bit subdued the last couple of post-game shows.
Yeah.
The Vegas one was good. But the last 2, I don't know if it was the late starts or
It would have been the late start. I mean, you weren't starting the pregame to 11 or postgame?
Yeah.
10:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, late nights.
I don't know. But then people would circle back and watch it and listen to it the day after, which is always interesting.
Les is in and says, you want a Twister movie every spring? Move out here to eastern Oklahoma and spend countless nights watching nothing but meteorologists on TV. I live in a Twister movie.
My fellow Okie, what up? The bathroom shelters at the airport and other public facilities are actually...
That's a thing.
Tornado shelters, yeah.
Really?
And then in Oklahoma City, on Saturdays at noon, they would play an air raid siren to test it, to make sure. So when the actual tornado.
Every Saturday?
Every Saturday at noon, across the city, you would hear the air raid sirens, and it was the test of the system. And then if you heard it anytime not on a Saturday at noon, that means those twisters were coming in hot, and they did. They did. And what's crazy is I think it was in Norman, Oklahoma, where Toby Keith is from. There was one really bad one like 6-7 years ago that tore through. And they had one like a decade or two prior to that went basically down the same path. And you know what they did there? And I was like, oh, my God. They rebuilt exactly on the same path. It's like building on a floodplain after everything got flooded. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe there's something there.
Oh, man.
Maybe don't build
like maybe it's like I don't know how any of that stuff works.
But stay safe.
But
who was that?
I really love that first movie. Les, let us know where we're at. We're going to pin you on the map, man. We're going to pin you on the map.
Be well, buddy.
The first movie was good. This one looks very good as well. One summer in Lethbridge, we had a couple tornadoes, and I chased one. I was working for the radio station at the time.
Oh.
And my boss was, and he's like, I want you to go follow this tornado and then talk to people if it impacts them, type of thing.
Oh, my God.
So I was like, okay, put me in a Chevy Tracker. You know what a Chevy Tracker is?
Yeah,
it's like the least safe SUV in the history of SUVs.
Sits up high.
It's like this. Yeah, it felt cool to drive, but it was like the most dangerous SUV ever. I mean, this thing barely stays up without the wind.
Was it?
And now you want me following this bloody tornado across the southern Alberta prairies? Like,
was it stick shift too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was. No, it wasn't stick shift. Yeah. It was automatic.
Yeah.
So anyway, I followed this thing and watched it pick up like trampolines and throw them on top of barns, and it was obviously here in Edmonton. There's no discussion about the impact of tornadoes, obviously, with our history here. But yeah.
AB Poker Inc. says Fancy Pepper Boy is now Fancy Putter Boy, and I just want to note
that. Wait, why are you Fancy Pepper Boy?
Because I don't know. I like cracked pepper.
How come I don't know about this?
I thought you knew about this.
How would I have missed it?
I only eat food with fancy. Not fancy.
You won't use regular pepper?
I'll use it, but I prefer.
Well, then you're not Fancy Pepper Boy.
I know.
You're like Preference Pepper Boy.
Yeah, it's more appropriate. But
look, if somebody
AB Poker Inc.'s point, ladies.
If somebody had a regular pepper thing here, and then a fancy pepper, I too would take the fancy pepper.
Everybody would.
It's fun going like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then I just want to say, like, the guys watching the ponies and ladies also have Waialae on there.
What's that?
See the sport? Where they have the cones and they whip the ball against the wall. It's like...
Are they live betting that right now?
Yeah, like they're betting on this right now.
That is amazing.
And like if you
I never know how you're... Like, how do you miss?
You get hit with one of those things.
But they don't ever seem to miss.
Well, they're pros. I thought this sport was banned.
Why would it be banned?
Because it's dangerous. They're wearing helmets because they could die. That ball's hard.
Yeah, but, I mean, look at hockey. You're skating around with blades on your feet. Like, cross-checking people in the head. Like shooting it's totally acceptable.
Rubber disc at 100 miles per hour.
I want to know how they score in this game. It always seems like, something just happened.
Yeah. Is there 3 teams in play right now? But the fact that this is being bet on and watched here is amazing.
It's been a great time
at
the Century Casino. We had a great relationship all throughout the National Football League season with these guys, and it was fun to. It was
awesome
to have the party here yesterday and stick around and do all of our shows here today as well.
Yeah.
Setup was absolutely terrific. Looked sharp as hell with the Century Casino logo in behind us as well. And, we're going to be back in the studio here moving forward. Tommy, what do you think happens with Morgan Riley before we go? What do you think?
5-game suspension.
Did you guys talk about it on the Hangout
We
today?
did talk a little bit about it. I did like what it created. Should he have cross-checked Ridley Gregg in the face? No.
Definitely shouldn't have cross-checked him.
Punch him in the head, jump him, whatever. Don't cross-check a guy in the face. That's a cheap shot. But I love the brouhaha, the discussion that has come out of it. Ryan Reeves mixing it up today as well with his comments.
What did he say?
He said,
next time you have to face me.
No, something like make hockey violent again should be a tattoo I get. And I thought that was funny. So, yeah. A great time here at Century Casino. Thank you to Renee. Awanik and Renee are like, hurry up. We're done. We've got nothing left in the tank. Good job, Zach, to come filling in. And Trev, wherever he is, get well soon. We want you to get well.
Here's Ryan Reeves' quote from Chris Johnston. If you rewind to when I came into the league, he's probably still laying on the ice. I thought Morgan Riley's response was appropriate. I don't see how a kid that young thinks it's appropriate to do something like that. So there's Ryan Reeves, the last of his kind, saying that Morgan Riley did exactly the right thing.
Well, he's teammates with them, so. Yeah.
He'll be suspended. Leafs will struggle on the blue line and get into a wild card spot and get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. That's how that's going to work. Fantastic. All right, that is going to do it for the Oil Stream. Huge shout out to our entire Edmonton Sports Talk team who put in a shift last night. Everybody came to work today with the exception of Trev, who was just slightly late. Huge shout out to Boston Pizza, Cool Bet, One Putt Virtual Golf. Go watch an Oilers game with your buddies there. That'll be a lot of fun. And, of course, our presenting sponsor, Boston Pizza, where we had a great time on Saturday night. You simply can't go wrong there. That's going to do it for the Oil Stream today. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. Download the free TuneIn app. And Tommy